Hi guys, how are you doing today? So I kind of have a random video, but I really wanted to talk to you guys about this in depth. I was originally just going to do an anti-haul, which I still plan on doing, but basically I've noticed something recently with the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes, and I was just going to mention it really quickly, but then I kind of was doing research the other night and I just went really in depth on first off the Anastasia palettes, and then I kind of just started comparing it to other really popular palettes. I just wanted to really help you guys see like how to get the most for your money and just kind of get a really in-depth view on what a palette is really worth. So I do plan on mentioning this in my future reviews because I have never even gone this in depth before or thought about it. Bless you. I first noticed something sketchy going on with the Anastasia palettes when I was doing my review for the Modern Renaissance, which I will leave down below in case you're interested. You can actually see my initial thoughts there when I was kind of like, what? The Anastasia like palettes that are coming out now have bigger pan sizes, but that's bullshit because they are smaller amounts of product, so it's kind of just like, what's the point? We're gonna start off with the Lavish palette, which is the oldest one I could find. I feel like there was one more that I'm missing, but I can't figure it out. So like I said, I have all my notes here, so we're just gonna start off with the Lavish. Just think about this for a second, okay? The Lavish palette, I understand that it was in the beginning, it was a couple years ago, so it's understandable for it to be a little bit less expensive. Totally understandable, but it was $38 and it came with a brow pencil, some black eyeliner, a dual-ended brush, and tweezers. And it had 10 eyeshadows that were all 0.031 ounces, which is a total product, just like the eyeshadow, of 0.31. So I didn't do a price per ounce on this one just because I figured like it had all the extra stuff, so it wasn't quite as accurate to do a price per ounce, but just keep that in mind, that's the starting point. So then Anastasia came out with the Amrezy, the Maya, and the Tamanna palette, and those were all the exact same size. They were all a total of 0.25 ounces, 10 shadows of 0.025 ounces. I will actually leave my notes down below because I'm sure I'm going to stumble, but the total price per ounce for those three palettes was $116 because they were $29 each. The easiest way to calculate price per ounce is to do 1 ounce and then you divide by however much product is in there, and then you do that times the amount of the price. So for example, 1 ounce divide by 0.25, which is the amount of total product, equals 4. You do 4 times 29 equals 116. So that was all good. That's like an average for the makeup higher end market. But then it started to go to $30, but you were getting more shadows, same amount in each shadow, so it was a total of 0.3 ounces, and the price per ounce went down to 100, which is even better. That's a pretty good deal, right? So then the Self-Made came out, $35. We had the same amount of product in each shadow, but it had 2 more shadows, total of 0.35 ounces, and the price per ounce was still $100. But then it's like out of nowhere, I think that they realized how good their palettes did, and I think that they realized that these next 2 palettes were going to be bomb.com really high sellers. The Modern Renaissance was $42, big price jump since the last one. That's an extra $7 in maybe, I don't know, maybe like 6 months or so between the 2 coming out. And it was 14 shadows of 0.02. So you lost part of your product, and then the total product was 0.28, which like is the least amount yet, and the price per ounce was $150. So to go from 100 to 150, and I still bought the Modern Renaissance because I had not even noticed that. And also it's a really beautiful palette, so if you don't care that they're like raising their prices, lowering their product, doesn't matter at all. It's a beautiful palette. But then this next one came out, which is the Makeup by Mario, which is the one that I was going to mention in my anti-haul. The reason why is because now it's $45, so you add another $3 to it. Well, you think like, oh, that's fine, I'm sure there's more product or something. No, there's even less product because now it's still 0.02, but there's only 12 shades. So the price per ounce for the Mario palette is $187.50. I just think that's ridiculous. It just went like skyrocketing. It started out like average and now it's really expensive. So even if you look at the Anastasia palettes and you're like, oh, it's $45, it's, you know, $9 less than a naked palette. A naked palette has a little under 3 times as much product. So you're getting so much more like bang for your buck with those palettes. So I just really wanted to go through all the Anastasia ones because as you can see, it started out average. It went down like almost as if they were like, oh, we've got good sellers, we can lower the price. But then at this last two, like I just don't understand the thought process other than let's just make as much money as possible because these 2 palettes are going to be bomb. If the Makeup by Mario palette was like $29, $35, I would definitely get it. $45 for less product? No. Okay, so I thought that this whole like in-depth thing would not be fair if I didn't talk about other high-end palettes on the market. So we're going to go in depth on a couple others that are really popular. I've got some naked palettes, the Lorac palettes, Too Faced palettes, and Tartelette palettes. So again, I will leave my notes down below, and also I just want to credit really quickly Tamanna. Her reviews are always on point because she's basically where I got my information for the original pricing of each palette, and she sometimes has, you know, like a product amount. So I was able to get a lot of information through her. But okay, let's start with Urban Decay Naked One. It started off as $44, it's now $54, but it also has a really nice brush. I think that the brushes in the Urban Decay palettes are good quality. Not everyone believes that, but just in my opinion. And then it did originally come out with like, I think like just like a sample primer or something. Now you get like a sample primer pack. So like the added on things have changed throughout the years, but the product has stayed the same. It has been 0.05 for every shadow. There's 12 shadows. That's a total of 0.6 ounces. And the price per ounce went from $73 when it first came out to $90. So like I said, $90 right now is a pretty good value on the market. Naked 2, it came out as $50, now it's $54, so the price per ounce started at $83 and now it's $90. Naked 3 came out as $52, now it's $54. It started out as $86 price per ounce and now it's $90. There's Urban Decay for you. You get a lot of product for a good price. So now the ones I'm going to talk about next really blew my mind because you guys, we are getting so ripped off. Okay, so next I went into the Lorac Pro and I did the price per ounce and everything like that, and I just remember always like I think the Lorac #1 was the like first high-end palette I bought. My first high-end was actually Naked 2, but I bought a fake one even though I thought it was real, so I paid the same amount, but it was fake. It was a whole situation, but basically the Lorac Pro was the first like high-end that I like legit bought, and I remember everyone saying like, oh, it's like $10 less than the Naked palette or $6 or whatever it was at the time, because it did start out as $42 and now it's $44. But I remember everyone always saying that, but if you look at the amount of product and you get in it, you only get 0.02 for every shadow, which is a total of 0.19, which is less than a third of the amount of product in the Naked palette. So the price per ounce started out as $221, but now it's $231. So the price per ounce is $231. So that's like incredibly high end. Like if you think about how much product you're getting for it, that's so expensive. Especially for someone who is just getting 1 or 2 palettes and that's all that they use, and they're really gonna go through stuff. Like I would not recommend the Lorac like irregular ones if that's like, if you only have a palette or 2, just it's not worth it. That is ridiculous. So then the Lorac Pro 2 and the Lorac Pro 3 were all the same. They were all 0.19, and then price per ounce basically $2.31 right now. And then the Lorac Mega Pro is actually a way better deal. It's a lot more closer to the average. So the Lorac Mega Pro Original was $59, and it had a total product of 0.62. So it was over 3 times the amount of product in a regular Lorac Pro palette. So it was a really good price per ounce. It was only $95 price per ounce. Amazing, even though that Lorac palette was so shitty. I don't know what just happened there. It was like some like British goddess took over me because their release was just awful and no one could get their hands on it. But the Lorac Mega Pro 2 was only 0.45 ounces. It went down from 0.62 to 0.45, and then the Lorac Mega Pro 3 is also 0.45. So those are both price per ounce $131. So a lot better deal than their original, but still pretty dang high. So now I went ahead and did Too Faced, and Too Faced has so many palettes I couldn't even begin to cover them all, but I just went ahead and did the original chocolate bar, and then I did the semi-sweet chocolate bar. Just because I was kind of trying to go through like their most popular palettes and do like the like sequence just to see like, you know, how it went. But the original chocolate bar was a total of 0.62 ounces for $49, which had a price per ounce of $79. Really great deal. And it is still $49, so still a really great deal. However, the semi-sweet chocolate bar had less product. It had 0.53 ounces, so the price per ounce went up to $92. Again, not too shabby. So next I did the Tartelette and the Tartelette in Bloom, and I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised with the Tarte palettes, because Tartelette Original was a total of 0.64 ounces for $44, and the price per ounce was only $68. I had not gone through and done drugstore palettes, but I have a feeling that it would probably be close to some of the drugstore palettes out there. So if you do like the Tartelette or the Tartelette in Bloom formula, then you're definitely getting a lot of bang for your buck. And personally, I like them both a lot. And then the In Bloom had 0.63 ounces, so it went down 0.01, which is barely any product at all, and the price per ounce went up to $71. Still the cheapest ones I did not go through and do every single palette in the entire world. However, I did give you guys the formula to do it, so if you're thinking of buying something, I think it's really great. Like now I'm going to actually go ahead and do that before I go to buy something. I'm going to check the amount of product and do the price per ounce and kind of just compare and think like, is this really worth it? Because with the Lorac palettes, even though I've been such a huge fan of them, and I have like the original one, the second one, the matte one, the Pro to Go, the Contour, I just bought the Mega 3. I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, I just can't believe how expensive they are. Like, okay, so I just looked at the Natasha Denona palette really quickly just to compare to the price of the Lorac. And the Natasha Denona palette is $240, which I agree is freaking crazy. It's a huge initial cost, and I just cannot do it. Maybe at one point in my life I will, but not right now. However, it does have 2.5 ounces of product. So, let me do this math real quick with my handy dandy calculator. The price per ounce is $97. So the Lorac palettes are over 2 times as much expensive, like as far as product goes, than the Natasha Denona ones. So that is everything I had to talk about. I hope you guys don't find this video too boring. I know it's different than anything I've ever talked about before or done, but I just thought you guys should know and be informed buyers. And I do plan on mentioning this now during my reviews on palettes. I will mention the price per ounce for you guys, just because, as you can see, it's just good to know so that you can make an informed decision on your purchases and you're not kind of screwing yourself over by being ignorant to the amount versus the cost. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.